Hello, goons, and welcome back to another Mopian Productions video. I hope you guys are having a great day today. Um, I just wanted to talk about a quick topic today. It's a very social topic, I guess, or a very sociological topic. I don't really know how to explain it, but I thought I'd put my 2 cents in, and maybe just open up discussion and see what other people think of this topic. So what I wanted to talk about today is like the need of, or like wanting somebody to need you, I guess I don't know what it's called, but I think you guys might know the feeling all too well of like wanting somebody to want you, or like wanting somebody to need you, right? And a lot of people say that's a very like toxic thing, right? Like you shouldn't have to want people to need you, or you can't have your happiness be based on somebody's neediness of you, I guess is the right word. Um and that's actually something that was going on between me and my ex. And I loved that feeling. I loved that feeling of somebody needing me, of somebody wanting me. And it definitely made me feel a lot happier in my life, for sure. Like, it might just be like a trauma thing, like a social trauma thing, but I've always like never felt like people really wanted me in their life, or like needed me in my life. And I guess maybe a big thing is to distinguish the difference between want and need, because they are completely different definitions, I guess, but they are very similar, right? So wanting something is like you don't necessarily require it in your life to keep living, right? Like you can want something and it won't affect too much of your life. It will, like, you can still keep going on with your life and be fine. And the want is just, I guess, more of like a privilege or like a luxury or something along those lines, right? Versus a need is like something you cannot live without, like, absolutely. Like if it were to not exist in your life, then you are gonna die. Like, it's a necessity, right? That's why it's called need. And I think the most obvious, distinction is you need food to live, but you would like to have, I don't know, fancy, like, luxury foods, like, you know what I mean, right? So I think that's a very, simple down version of want versus need, and, very, very simple examples of what it is to want something and what it is to need something. So I guess technically in our world, we don't necessarily need each other, right? Everybody can kind of live on their own. If it gets to that point, you can technically live on your own without needing somebody else. You can learn to grow your own crops. You can, teach yourself how to keep yourself healthy, right? You don't necessarily need somebody else to teach you. You can want somebody else to teach you, but you don't necessarily need it, right? And so that leads me to my point about relationships, right? I think a lot of people are like, oh, I need a girlfriend. I need someone in my life, right? I need someone in my life to give me a worth, like to make me feel like I'm worthy, like to make me feel that I'm worthy of this life that I'm living. And I think a lot of people do fall into that trap in relationships, and unfortunately I fell into it too. And I'm not putting the blame on my ex. I think this is obviously my own faults. I wasn't secure enough in myself. I didn't find worth in myself. And that led me to want to seek validation from other people. And it's really funny because I was at a point in life where I felt like I didn't necessarily need approval from anybody. And I just shit on that guy. Holy. before I met my ex, I was at a point in life where I just didn't feel like I necessarily needed anybody or wanted anybody, right? I was saving up on my job, and I was doing well in school. I was doing high school and college at the same time, so I was, working on a future while also working a job. You know, and I was setting myself up, and it wasn't necessarily because of somebody else was in my life and providing me with things I needed in order for me to do the things that I was doing. I did it all on my own volition. I signed up for college classes on my own. I signed up for advanced high school classes on my own. I applied for a job on my own, right? I mean, you could argue that I needed somebody to get me into my job, but at the end of the day, I was able to go apply. I was able to go to the interview and basically like show off my skills, right? So like I said, I was at a point in my life where I didn't necessarily need anybody, and it wasn't like I wanted anybody either. I was completely content by my, oh my God. Okay, you know what? Yeah, no, that was stupid. I'm such an idiot. Yeah, I was at a point in my life where I didn't need anybody. I didn't want anybody, and I was completely happy on my own. And I was still miserable, don't get me wrong. Like, it wasn't like I was completely happy with my life. And the thing about me is that in my life, I've never really felt like anybody wanted me, right? I didn't really feel like anybody really cared for me or wanted me or like wanted anything to do with me. And so I kind of decided that I didn't need anybody either. And then when my ex came along and made me feel like she wanted me and like she cared for the fact that I was in her life, I was like, this is an amazing feeling. Like, I could get high on this feeling of somebody wanting me or like somebody needing me. And so because I got hooked on that feeling, it became a lot harder for me to realize that maybe this relationship isn't the best for me. Maybe, it became a lot easier to look past the red flags. It became a lot easier to not question, the things that I was doing wrong and the things that she was doing wrong. And I would simply just brush everything off as, oh, we just care for each other, or like we just really need each other. So it's fine if, we're acting the way that we are. And I can't believe it's taken me this long to realize that is just toxic. It's not okay to need somebody in your life. It's completely fine to want somebody, but needing somebody in your life is a completely different story. And it took me until now to realize that it is extremely toxic, because you're essentially placing your own self-worth into another person, and you're saying, the only reason I exist is because you are in my life, essentially. Like, around those lines, right? Because if you think about it, right, let's go back to the food example. The reason you need food in your life is because it supplies you with nutrients. It gives you the proper nutrients that your body needs to function every day. I mean, you could technically go on for, I don't know, I think it's like a week or two without food and you'll be fine. But you also need water, right? Like, you have to drink water. Oh my God, what am I doing? Oh, that was horrible. You need water to live. If you were to not drink water for a week, you would basically die. If you had no water whatsoever for a week straight, I'm pretty sure you would die. It might be earlier than that. I think it's actually like 72 hours, so like 3 days of no drinking. But if you're placing that much worth, if you're saying I need this person in my life to live, then you are completely removing yourself as a person, and you're subconsciously telling yourself, I'm worthless, and my only worth is the fact that this person needs me. I came in third. Oh my god. 41 headshot percentage, 44 deaths. Yikes, that was bad. Yeah, when you're in that dynamic, you're stripping your self-worth, you're stripping your self-esteem, you're stripping yourself as a human, and you're giving all of that power to somebody else, and you're basically telling yourself and everybody around you, my worth only exists because you need me. And this is why I'm going to glaze Welcome to the NHK. All right. If you've been watching the past few videos, you know I've been talking about Welcome to the NHK. And one of the characters in Welcome to the NHK has this same mentality of, the only reason I exist is because I want this person to need me. I want this person to need me in their life. Like, I want them to have that codependency on me, and I'm going to do everything in my power to get it. Yeah. And then if you really break that down, that codependency on each other, you realize that that's pretty toxic. That's pretty manipulative of both sides, right? And so I say all this to say that if you feel like you need someone, if you feel like you need your partner, if you feel like you need a partner, then you need to start reevaluate, right? And trust me, I've been there. I was there for 4 or 5 years. And like I said it earlier, I could get high on that feeling. It feels like euphoria to know that somebody needs you, to know that the only person or the only way this person can go on with life is if you exist, right? And it's like I said, it's not good. And I'm going to repeat it again. The reason it's not good is because you're stripping yourself of your humanity. You're stripping yourself of your own character, and you're basically telling someone else to control you, right? And, you know, as funny as the jokes are that, like, oh, I'd love to be, you know, like stepped on or worshipped on, or like worship someone, like, at the end of the day, if we're being real, that is not healthy at all. And I think I've kind of realized that maybe it comes from a place of trauma. Maybe it comes from a place of just like social problems. And so I highly recommend to go watch Welcome to the NHK, because the only reason I see all this now is because of watching Welcome to the NHK. And I finally realized why it's not good to need someone in your life. And, you know, a lot of people in my circle have been telling me this for years, that it's not okay to need someone. You can't, it shouldn't get to the point of where, like, you can't live anymore without this person. But yeah, moral of the story is, just go watch Welcome to the NHK. Please subscribe, please subscribe, please subscribe, please